Yo, what is going on? And welcome to another episode of the Urban Pitch Podcast, the Team of Life, part of the Believe Network. I'm Ramsey, editor of UrbanPitch.com. We got the co-executive directors of Vibes who are currently have a case of the giggles. Julio, Brigitte, Flores, what is going on? What's so funny? Is it,
it's Brigitte's day, so I'm just following her lead right now. Whatever Brigitte says goes.
I think y'all are in a good mood because we have a special episode today. So we're going to be getting into this solo. Yeah, we got a solo episode, but later on in the show, hope you stick around for it. We have former U.S. men's national team players, Geoff and Brek Shea, joining us. Talking about the soccer tournament, what they're up to now in retirement, some stuff about the U.S. men's national team. We got a busy summer coming up, so we
outside.
So we hope you guys stick around for that. But first, we have some big news. We wanted to. So normally, when we have guests on, we have them on the whole show. But there's some big news that happened this week, so we had to get some thoughts off on it.
Yep.
This
week was a little messy.
It was a little bit of a messy week.
What thought are we talking about?
Your thought.
There's different ways you can. There's different ways that you can interpret that, right? Especially with the executive directors of Vibes here. So, but of course, we obviously mean Lionel Messi coming to MLS and in Miami. The GOAT, depending on who you ask. Me and myself, I subscribe to that.
No. I think he's the GOAT too.
I just mentioned that.
Yeah, I loved, I'm a Real Madrid fan, but I always thought Messi was a better player. But now that Messi's in the MLS, coming to the MLS, I sent my text message saying already, now that Lionel's coming to the MLS, I'm sorry I was Messi.
Yeah.
How's your mom?
The whole future text.
Yeah. How's your mom doing?
Yeah. Hey, say hi to moms for me. But what are your all's initial reactions? Because it was a little bit of a surprise. It was almost like there's different reports coming out since he said he was going to leave PSG. They were talking about he was going to go to Saudi Arabia.
$1.2 billion for 3 years.
That was apparently a done deal. Barca was trying to come up in the mix, and then all of a sudden now, he's coming to America. So what was your guys' initial reaction there?
No, because he had a whole interview. He said that his whole plan was to go back to Barca. But after what happened last time, he didn't want to leave like he left last time. So growth, he doesn't want to be in another toxic relationship. So he came to the MLS, and that's
MLS isn't toxic at all.
No. But he left $1.2 billion. Like $1.2 billion for 3 years.
He left $1.2 billion on the table.
I'll leave my family for way less.
That just shows,
we know.
Yeah, but so you left that $1.2 billion, reported $1.2 billion, alleged.
For Brigitte said, here we go.
Yeah, but he left that for a very interesting contract structure, and none of this is, at least to my knowledge, set in stone yet. There's a lot of rumors being flown around, but from what the general consensus is he's not just getting a normal contract like you'd see if he would be going to somewhere like Barcelona or Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia. So he turned down the Saudi Arabia contract because MLS, the way MLS is structured, allows for these kind of creative contracts to be given out. We saw it with David Beckham when he came to Galaxy in 2007. And now what's being reported is he's going to get some revenue share from Apple TV. He's going to be getting some revenue share from Adidas, being that he's the Adidas athlete.
He is Adidas.
And Adidas and MLS are connected. And then because Inter Miami has some salary cap restrictions based off of some sanctions that they got for breaking some of the salary cap rules. It's been reported that the all MLS teams are going to be pulling money together to pay
him.
The Messi tax, supposedly.
On top of the ownership.
Yeah. So on top of getting potentially the same kind of Beckham Godfather deal to where he can get a potential stake in an MLS team after he retires. So that, to me, is a lot more valuable than $1.6 billion. I mean, the guy, I don't know how much money he's made over his career, but he's made enough money.
BetOnline.ag is your #1 source for all your basketball info, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest player reports for this year's pro basketball playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters this season, as we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs. Basketball, MLB, NHL, hockey, right to UFC and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games you can play right from your home. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get into the action. Be sure to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.
You know, at this point.
But no, they also reported that he's bringing Tata, so he got to pick the coach.
And he got to pick the coach. He might get a
no,
whole
and his
influx
friends.
of players.
No, Luis said when I went. Luis Suarez just came out like today, and he said because there was a whole big thing where when MSN, Neymar, Messi,
right,
and Suarez broke up, there was a thing where Cole was like, yeah, like we might be away from each other now, but we all plan to like come back and finish our careers together.
Do you guys remember when I told you about that one time that I bought tickets for
Messi and Friends?
Yeah.
This is Messi and Friends.
He said y'all gonna shut me out? I'm making my own Messi
They
and
said,
Friends.
let's make Bridget's dream come true because we didn't.
Yeah,
we
okay.
You know what?
Let's not go that far. All right, I'm gonna head out.
But come on, like literally.
His Bridget's dream with less oil.
2012. I'm triggered. 2012. I really thought you're so annoying. And then Ramsey, and then you don't let me egg him on, but then you can egg him on. That doesn't make any sense.
I'm not laughing. I have a straight face. Right now.
Anyway, dude, I'm still triggered. 2012, I was supposed to see Messi and Friends. I didn't get to. Maybe this is the time to see him with Inter Miami.
No,
Yeah.
but because Luis Suarez said it, like, all right, probably Neymar's not coming, but I'm finishing my career with Messi.
Yeah.
That part.
So he's coming.
Well, Suarez was linked with MLS, Galaxy, and LAFC both before he went back to Uruguay. But so now who knows what's going to happen? But I want to talk about this deal because
It's wild.
we haven't seen something like this since David Beckham came to the league.
David Beckham crawled so Messi could walk.
I would say walk so Messi could run because Beckham got himself a deal too.
I mean, yeah, at that time. But,
Yeah.
But Messi,
we don't
I mean,
know what this deal can go into.
Exactly.
We don't know
Right.
what it'll bring in the
Beckham
future.
was younger, and like as you remember at that time, Beckham was probably not the best player in the world, but like tabloids.
Yeah, he had
it all. Like,
Famous people in
he
the
had
world.
he was the
clout.
most famous,
He
one of
had
the most
clout.
famous persons in the world. Like everybody knew Beckham. Like who was, even though they didn't know he played, even even rap lyrics was made after Beckham.
On top of his girl,
yeah.
like,
So like,
he had all the girls.
he was dating a
because of
Spice
his
girl. Ludacris said driving with seven kickers. That means a bag full of Beckhams. Like come on, like
Yeah.
or
Trunk
something
full-
like that.
Trunk
but
full of Beckhams. something
yeah,
like that.
trunk full of Beckham. So like he was that guy, like the celebrity of all celebrities. Your celebrity's favorite celebrity.
And
Right.
so right now, what Messi's doing is like he just won the World Cup. Like everyone was waiting for that to happen, and it happened last year. And now he's like, easy. I'm gonna go to the U.S. and claim my prize.
Yeah. So this
Not
is
at LAFC got something to say about it.
I mean, I don't think he's like. So we can get into if he's here to actually play soccer or if he's here to,
Yeah.
get a nice contract, live in Miami, get
Live
himself
off the
a
perks.
business, get himself a business opportunity with owning a team because Beckham got that he I think it was 25 mil, and now Inter Miami is worth 600 mil. So that was a very sound investment. And like Brigitte said, that Beckham deal set up this Messi deal, and now it's kind of it's like a prophecy that Beckham is the guy who's setting up this deal with Messi, but also these stipulations in this contract with Apple TV, with Adidas, with the teams pulling together some of the salaries are coming from parts of MLS. Like you won't see this in any other league because MLS is structured different from every other league, right? So MLS is a single entity, has a single entity structure, meaning that all the teams are technically owned by one entity, the MLS. They have a single kit sponsor, Adidas, which we've all been critical of. A lot of people have been critical of the single entity structure, including myself. And then the Apple TV deal, when that came up, everyone's like, "Oh, they're going to put a paywall in front of MLS. How are they going to get new fans? How is the casual fan going to pay for all of this?
Right.
So all of that set up. They were instrumental in getting Messi, and it's stuff that people weren't like thrilled about. So it's just very interesting to me that kind of played out like that.
Bringing on Messi allows all of them to win in some way, in some capacity.
Right, exactly. So that's the single entity structure, meaning that technically all the teams are under one umbrella, and the owners are technically investors. So I won't get into the whole X's and O's of all it. But so they get a revenue share. So when MLS was set up, they wanted to avoid the pitfalls of NASL before them, which folded because of, you know, the salaries weren't sustainable, all this and that. And so they basically used that single entity as a safety net to make for a sustainable league. Now, me personally, I think that's we've grown past that as a league. We're beyond the stage of survival. You know, now we can it's like a crutch that's it's keeping us up, but it's holding us back at the same time. But it did, you know, lead to this deal. So what do I know? But now, like, all these teams are very happy that Messi's coming because that just means more money in their pockets. And the league, we've seen the valuations of MLS teams. They're up there with, you know, Premier League teams, Serie A teams, Bundesliga teams. So, I mean, from a business perspective, this is huge. This is huge.
Yeah, I saw a meme that said, welcome to all these new MLS fans. Yes, we are going to play 3 a.m. Europe time. Yes, there's 2 Miami teams. But no, there's no AC Miami.
Yeah.
I thought that shit was hilarious.
Is there an AC Miami? What's going on?
Yeah. It's like, I'm a new MLS fan. Can somebody give me the 411? There's an Inter Miami. Is there an AC Miami? Like that's hilarious, bro.
And that's another part of this too. It's just like, what is this going to do with the fan base? Because we know we have a certain, you know, fan base for MLS, but having Messi come in, it's undeniable to say that Messi has a fan in every corner of the world.
Right.
So this is going to open opportunities to have fans that have never even seen or heard of MLS.
Yeah, when you talk about like the casual fan, you have to be like, if you're an MLS fan, you have to be kind of a sicko. You know, like you have to be like, there's got to be something, you know, like to watch MLS like day in and day out. You know what I mean? Like this is how you're spending your time. Exactly. Yeah, right. You have to. So, but
you gotta be like,
it's not like your normal average Joe American. Yeah. At least from my experience, is not. They're aware of MLS, obviously, but they're not like, oh yeah, yo, like, you know, Klein out, or, you know,
like the only reason people know is because of the drama.
Yeah, exactly, and they see it's like a fringe thing in their head, but they don't know who, you know, Bouanga is. They're not saying Bouanga for
They're
MVP.
not gonna sit down and watch a game.
Yeah, or maybe they'll watch it at a bar and they'll be like, oh yeah, this is American soccer, I guess. But now with Messi coming, it's like the casual fan, that coveted casual MLS fan, which has been largely like, you know, hit or miss, is going to come to the league now. So I'm interested in seeing that. And we've seen the ticket prices for games that he might not even be playing in are skyrocketing. All of them have been sold out. So, I mean, that's just the Messi effect.
Yeah, we gotta send in our media pass.
Yeah, now. But like, you go to these games, like you go to a Dignity BMO. Like when you walk around, there's always a Messi jersey there.
At some point.
Yeah, so like now, like.
Can you imagine, like, at Inter Miami, like at the stadium, you're not just gonna see the Inter Miami. You're gonna see like the Barca, the
PSG,
Argentina, the PSG.
Right.
And I think that's so exciting to me. I have always been a Messi fan since I can remember. My brother was a Messi fan. So, like, to me, I'm so excited to see him, to potentially see him play in person. Like, to me, that just like fulfills a childhood dream that I've always wanted to see Messi. And at the same time, I can imagine, like, it's just going to change a lot of things in MLS. It's going to, like, change the fan base, just like what we see at stadiums. The fact that, like, tickets are already selling out for every single Inter Miami game. Like, that's insane.
But not only that, like, the July transfer has not, market has not opened up yet.
Right.
Now, all these big names, now that Messi has came, everybody said, no, Bale came. Now bigger names are coming. Messi came. You think this is like, all right, this is top of the top, but wait for this July because a Di Maria that doesn't have a contract no more. Paredes, Busquets, Jordi Alba, like all these big name players from these big name teams that still have a little gas in their legs to come and play. Like they're probably they cannot all go to Inter Miami as much as they want to play with Messi. So LAFC can take. We got one more deep.
He's very hopeful. He is very hopeful. So that brings me to the next question: is what does this mean for the league as a whole? Because that whole like notion of MLS being a quote unquote retirement league where, you know, guys like Bastian Schweinsteiger, Wayne Rooney, you know, Ashley
Henry,
Cole,
Rafa Marquez,
Thierry Henry, all these guys at the tail ends of their careers be like, yo, like, let me go to the States, live a comfortable life, get a nice little contract.
Light
and then,
work.
Yeah, and then play, you know, it's 60%, whatever.
Yeah.
Higuain, even at Inter Miami, had the same,
couldn't do it,
the same
though.
deal. Yeah.
He looked bad.
He did not. He didn't look great. But
His hair was gone.
yeah, he was
His
stressing.
legs were gone. It was bad.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I think MLS has since shed that image, as now it's being a league that's selling a lot of young players, selling a lot of young talent, has a lot of exciting young talent, is being compared to like the Dutch league, the Eredivisie, a league that's known for kind of cultivating young talent. But now I think this kind of goes back to the David Beckham days because it's such a similar deal. Do you, as much as exciting as it is for Messi to come, do you want all these influx of guys like Bale, guys like Chiellini, guys who might not are over the hill, certainly you don't know how much gas they have in the tank? Is that something you want to see, or is it something that you think is going to regress back to the older MLS days?
I think that's something that I was wondering too, like, because on our end, it's like exciting, right? Like, oh my God, Messi, the GOAT. And then on Messi's end, like for him, this is like, well, I'm gonna go to the US. I'm gonna play, you know, like less pressure, like less expectations on me. Like the game isn't as you know, competitive. I feel like those are the two sides of things. But like, I'm curious in just thinking of the fact that, like, could this be an opportunity to show the current MLS players, like, there's an opportunity to take advantage of what's happening right now. Like, this could be the opportunity to, like, push and elevate MLS to another level, or it could be on the other end of it, like, to show people, like, yeah, MLS isn't it, and that's where people go to retire. So I feel like it's just, like, we're right there on that, on, like, that edge.
But I think, like, with so much soccer coming to the U.S., especially high-level soccer, the World Cup 2026, La Copa Oro, what's the other cup that's coming? Nations Cup, but there's the Gold Cup, South American Cup.
Yeah, not Libertadores, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so
Copa
like,
America.
Copa America. Yeah, so like all these tournaments are coming to the U.S. So even though like Messi's coming, big name, a lot of players have came and they said it. It's not an easy league. Probably talent wise, we don't have the top of the top talent.
It's not easy to play.
But traveling wise, like
physicality.
Physicality.
It's not as luxurious.
But imagine this young player trying to make a name for himself. See a Messi, that's like opportunity right there to make a name for yourself.
Yeah.
Like push him a little bit. Do something like
Hey, do him up.
Yeah. But like this just showed that this league has been going on for
30 years almost.
Yeah, 25 plus years, almost 30 years. All these leagues, La Liga, EPL, all the other European leagues, they've been going since teams have
hundreds of years.
Yeah, they be having like 1800, 22 on their jersey. So like, and in 20 years, what we can do shows a lot. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. The World Cup is coming now, so this league can like literally pop off. You've been hearing rumors saying that the Champions League in Europe are planning to let one team from North America come and play, and that can be one of these teams in the U.S. So it's a lot that can go on in the next few years.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's good. Really quick, I want to shift the discussion to another competition, high level competition that took place here in LA last week. CONCACAF Champions League didn't go the way that I think we envisioned or we wanted. Right, LAFC falling to Club Leon in pretty decisive fashion, 3-1 over aggregate. Julio and I were there. Brigitte was getting her
in Vegas.
I was busy in Vegas.
She was just
doing Vegas things.
It was the start of Brigitte's summer. Really, the summer of Brigitte kicked off last weekend, and it just happened to coincide with the CONCACAF Champions League. Her priorities, we saw where her priorities were. Yeah. Julio and I were being professional, doing interviews.
No, Brigitte is certified. I don't give a fuck right now.
and Brigitte's out here at day clubs in Vegas.
Yeah, well, we out here work.
It's not Brigitte's corner. It's Brigitte's summer.
At this point, it's Brigitte's world. Like,
yeah. Like But what were your guys' overall thoughts? Really quick, because I want to get to this conversation with Brek and Geoff as well. But what were you guys' just reactions, thoughts to that match over the 2 legs?
Well, I think on my part, like I have a different perspective, right? Like I was in Vegas and I did make time to go out and find a place to watch the game.
Were you able to find a bar?
No, it was hard.
Yeah.
Like no one was playing it. On top of that, Miami and Denver were playing against each other, so everyone was prioritizing that game.
Yeah, the finals.
So we were able to go to some spot, and like every single TV had the Miami and Denver game, and we like one small.
They had like
TV.
the one TV with the VCR still on the bottom of it.
No sound, no subtitles, just like the
yeah.
LAFC versus Leon game. So we were able to. I was able to go and like watch it. But it was just like, it wasn't prioritized. Like I got there like maybe like halfway through the first half. So everyone was watching like focus on the Miami game. So it wasn't as easy for me to like be there and sit there. I had my jersey on. I was repping heavy. I had my hat on. It wasn't the same though. Like the energy wasn't the same. I couldn't. I felt FOMO. Like you guys were out there. Everybody was at the game. But it looked exciting.
Everyone that mattered.
The energy on the screen, I could tell. Like I already knew what kind of energy there was.
Yeah.
Loud. I can only imagine like the Leon fans, like the energy that they brought.
Sneaky. They were sneaky there, but like it was a lot of them. Like they were like trickled down. Like it didn't look like a lot because they were just trickled down. But like if you left 3 sections, they were there. Like,
Right.
Especially late in the game, once it was like evident that Leon was completely outplaying LAFC.
They started showing up.
They were loud because, I mean, at the beginning of the game, it was all LAFC.
Yeah,
you know, the 30-52 was going
The
wild.
32
They
was-
take over.
You couldn't hear Leon until maybe, you know, they scored that goal.
Once they scored, no, they were
creeping.
the LA 32 were loud. Like honestly, I couldn't even hear myself speak sometimes. To the point when they heard the goal, and they was like, "Hey, oh, you're there. Hey!" Like I'm sorry, I didn't want to be screaming at you. Like the stadium went completely quiet, and it sucked. Took the air off of it. Once I saw that goal, I was like, let me get 3 shots back to back, and then they lost me.
Got to numb the pain. But to me, I mean, LAFC, I don't know if they were tired. I don't know if they were like, you know, because they were resting a lot of their players. And I don't know if, you know, they should have done it opposite where they were, you know.
So that's the question I want to ask.
Yeah.
You think it hurt them not playing the A team for the U.S.
They
Open
kinda
Cup?
lost
Yeah,
the momentum.
But Chicharito did get hurt in
He's out for the rest of the season.
Yeah, he's done it.
But like,
That's a
so
whole
like,
nother conversation.
yeah, it's a whole nother. Like, do you think that hurt them being too precautious?
I don't know.
Because Leon had in place as the 20.
They hadn't played in like 2 weeks, something like that.
No, there was like 3 weeks going on 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So you think like us resting these players like hurt us? Because we didn't have no games.
It's
we have
impossible. Yeah, it's impossible to say.
They moved a lot of the schedule.
But when you look at how they play in MLS versus how they played that game, it was like completely. Because I'm used to watching LAFC almost dominate. Completely dictate the
They
pace
just looked
of
a
the game.
step slow.
I hadn't seen them get outplayed like that in a long time.
Once they started to switch up the players, like as much as I loved seeing the younger, players go in and play, I kind of feel like the momentum was lost a little bit.
You're talking about heading up into
this game. I feel like the momentum was lost a little bit, and by the time like it was their time to like show up and show out, it just wasn't there as much.
Yeah.
And I feel like that. I don't know. I question like maybe that would be a reason why.
Yeah, I mean it's that question. So by doing that, you open the door to that question, right? By resting your players and then not showing up in the game, that opens the door to that questioning. Whereas if you just play them all out, you're risking injury. So you're opening the door to if somebody gets hurt, it's like, oh, you shouldn't have done this, you shouldn't have done that. Winning is the right. Like it's hard to say if it was the right decision in the moment. Now with hindsight, we know maybe it wasn't the right decision, but that's just how it is with sports and kind of key decisions like that. But I think Steve Cherundolo has done a good job,
amazing job.
For the most part. So I think I trust him and I trust his decision making because he's proven to be an adept tactician and an adept leader. So I don't know.
You think this kind of hurt the team because we went to I went to the game on Wednesday.
Right, in Atlanta.
And the team just looks still, even though they tied 0-0, they still look a step slow. Carlos Vela's missed
the
Vela
PK.
hasn't looked good.
No, I'm saying like his confidence looks like he doesn't look like Carlos Vela. So like with a player like that, of course, I feel like you gotta let him like in the NBA, shoot or shoot. Let him see the net one time and he will figure it out. But how bad do you think this is for his team that lost the final that everybody's been talking about? Coming to the game, there was a lot of reports saying that I think it was Fox Sport, or he's been saying like, yeah, LAFC is coming to this game confident, they're not worried about it. Leon gave him a lifeline, and they're gonna take full advantage of it. From like all the pundits were talking about that.
Yeah.
How do you feel like this punch in the gut? How are they gonna take this?
Yeah, it hurts, right? Obviously it hurts, but you have to be professional as at that level. You know, it's like you have other stuff to worry about. You can't change what happened in the past. You have other goals now. You're out of the U.S. Open Cup. You got Leagues Cup, and you got Supporter Shield, MLS Cup. Those are the 3 things that they should be focused on. Momentum from game to game, I think, you know, is a thing, and especially in soccer, like being in form and being, you know, playing at high levels. It's going to take time, but at the same time, I think they gotta look at their goals and be like, hey, you know, we didn't. It's hard to win everything, you know. It's just like it's not realistic at that point. So they got to rebound. They got to if they're a true good team, if they're truly the team that they think they are, because talking to guys like Kellen, talking to guys like Abraham, they think they're that good. You know, if they're the team that they think they are, they'll be able to bounce back from this rather quickly, I think.
Brigitte, what will be the best bounce back song for this team right now?
The best bounce back?
Yeah, what songs should they be playing in the locker room before every game?
I don't know.
Just get Brigitte in the locker room and she'll play. Yeah.
Dude, I'm on my Karol G vibe right now.
Oh, okay. Everybody's gonna be a bichota.
They need to turn up. They need to turn up to La Bichota right now. Honestly, she's a vibe. But I feel like one of her songs in her album. But I think something I was gonna say is, I feel like Vela took the back seat starting at the beginning of this season, and because every other player was doing their thing. Like every single player on the team was showing out. Like they were coming off of the championship. Like they started off as such a strong team. I feel like Vela had at that moment like the opportunity to be like, I'm gonna step back. I'm gonna let my teammates, you know, do their thing. But I feel like right now the mentality has to be like bring it back. Like,
and when they needed him the most, he disappeared.
That part.
But you can't, like, Bella, if you're listening to this, come on to the pod. First things first. But Bridge is right. Like, sometimes sitting back and letting your teams, like, carry the load, because you feel like you want to trust them. But at the end of the day, like, you see this going on. Boanga didn't get blamed.
No.
None of the top players, like, is going back to Vela, of course. Vela, everybody, he didn't play the best game of it.
Right.
Of his career.
He didn't play the best game of his career, and that's why he's getting criticized. But that's the
thing.
When you're the star.
When you're Kobe, you're Allen Iverson, you're LeBron James.
All eyes are on you.
But Vela, I feel like you're going to bounce back. Don't worry about it.
No, yeah, 100%.
But how do you think this team's going to stay together for July, or are we going to see a repeat from last year?
Blow up? I don't know. It's hard to say. I think that front office is very aggressive. They make, you know, they're not afraid to make big moves. So this July, I like the team as is. To me too.
But I think it's MLS.
We said the same last year too, when they kind of blew it up too, like, and they kind of struggled out of the gate after that. They made those moves, and we were saying, you know, like, why do they blow things up? They're smarter than at least I am. So I think the team is good enough to win as is, but if they feel the need to make moves, then they have that right, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, last year all the risks that they took were
paid
good
off.
ones.
Yeah, Bale came through, and
yeah,
you know.
But just to circle back on the Messi conversation, do you think a lot of teams are gonna go after these big names now?
That's a great question.
As a business move, yeah, it's always that thing of, you know, make a signing that's good for the team or making a signing that's good for the bottom line. So last year, I think LAFC did a pretty good job of doing both, because you know, I thought those moves were mostly business based, and they ended up working out for the best.
Bale was Bale
too. So we'll see what happens. But any last thoughts before we get into this conversation with
Chicharito, $6 million going to Real Salt Lake? How do you feel, Brigitte?
Oh, Chicho.
No, not Chicharito.
Chicho. That's Brigitte.
That's my guy.
Going to RSL for $6 million, and that's what he told LAFC he wanted, and he was like, send you to Pachuca. Get out of here. So how do you feel about that?
Hey, I'm all for him being in Mexico for a while. It'll be interesting. I think it'll bring a competition to the game in MLS, and I'm excited to see him back in MLS. Like, I missed
She's
him.
excited.
Come back.
Yeah, she was happy to see him. What did she say when he left? Like, I hate to see him go, but I love to watch him leave.
He's a little thick. Pause.
He's making his way back. So now now Brigitte can
Yep.
feast her eyes on him.
We're one step closer to being back together.
You're gonna be close to him now.
Yeah.
You're gonna be close to him in games with him.
You know what I'm saying?
All right, let's leave things there. But let's get into this conversation. We're gonna take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll have Geoff Cameron and Brek Shea, former U.S. men's national team players. So we'll be back in a sec. All right, Geoff Cameron and Brek Shea joining us now. Thank you guys so much. I know on the East Coast it's late for y'all, but we really appreciate y'all taking the time to speak with us. What's going on?
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah. So first things first, we're a week removed from the soccer tournament, TST. You guys obviously participated in all that. From the outside looking in, as an observer, it looked like it was, everything looked pretty. It was well done, I think it's safe to say that was a successful first run of that tournament. But from you guys being on the inside, what was that whole experience like for y'all?
You want to take it away, Brek?
Yeah, I mean, I would have to say, as a spectator, it looked fun. As a person being there and being a part of it, it exceeded all my expectations. I didn't know what to expect. I said I was going to play. I mean, obviously, I like playing soccer, and I got there, and I had a great time. Every day was better than the last. I had fun. I mean, I got the heart was going. Like, I was excited. I wanted to win, and I saw a lot of people. I can't express how much fun I had, and it was really well done, and they put on a great tournament, and I think everyone that was there had a great time, and I can't stress enough that I had a great time.
Yeah, what was the camaraderie like with between teams? Were you guys going out afterwards? Because I mean, we like to talk about stuff on the pitch, but this is mostly a podcast about stuff off the pitch. So what were y'all getting up to in North Carolina after the games?
we were doing ice baths at like I mean, to be honest, it would have been like if there were like days in between and like you could take your, I mean, that's just for, we're both retired, but we take playing seriously in a competitive way because we both like to win, and we want to leave it all on the field. So in my professional like mindset, it's like you do everything correct, and that's how I am. I'm super organized, super professional, and it's like we played the game, and it was like, what can we do? Get back to the hotel. Let's make PB&Js. Let's get our feet up. Let's take a nap. We have another game in like 5 hours. Okay, what do we have to do? Take an ice bath. Like everything that you can do to prepare yourself for the game as well as you would for an actual professional game. You know what I'm saying? So that was kind of our mindset. And then until, I mean, we had our tickets booked for the Monday because we were gonna win it all, and we came close, man. We were few. We didn't realize how good is like the indoor and futsal arena players. Like they had a different structure and style. Like professionally, we like barely changed, and we hung it out, and like it was like round after round, you see 3 or 4 people being subbed in. You're like, what is happening? It was a different game, but overall it was just like, what can we do to prepare ourselves for the next game and give ourselves a better chance to go further.
Yeah.
And that was kind of, we didn't really get to go out and go to the bar like Sneaky Fox did. Their coaches and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, like Brek said, it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah. And I think that what you're speaking towards, like the futsal, the indoor, even like some of our freestyle players, a lot of that is coming up nowadays, and you're seeing more of it. And they're definitely taking on like the scenes within football, soccer. But for you all, what was it like to play against diverse teams that had retired pro players, but also like influencers, actors? Like, what was that like for you?
I mean, I think just being around, a group of just retired professional players. I mean, a lot of them at a high level, influencers, just being in, it was kind of like, I I guess compared to like a bubble, you know, like we were all like in the same area, always running into each other. It was just cool to meet and greet people and to say hi to people that you haven't seen in a long time, that you used to battle with, now that you get to be like friendly with and stuff like that. Like the first game right before kickoff, Mark Gonzalez, he was like, hey, remember when US played Chile back in Chile, and I think it was 2016? I was like, yeah, I remember I scored against you guys. He goes, I was like, oh, well, thanks. You set me up for that one. But it's just cool to like play against people that we battled against for years, and then obviously meet and hang out with other people.
All right, so now that you guys are retired, we had AJ and Sean Franklin on the pod. Sean said that as soon as he retired, he couldn't watch soccer because he was like, how is these guys getting contracts over me? How is it now that you guys are retired?
I mean, yeah, I can go on that one. There's half the league that I could still play. I mean, I know that. It's it's a matter of like, for me, it was principle and money wise. Like, you know, I could have played another year or two, and I think Brek as well. Like, I mean, we keep ourselves in really good top shape. I mean, we still train in the morning, like just because our mindset needs to do that. But it was just more of like, you make choices when you're a bit younger, and you make decisions that's like best for you and personally. But then as you get older, you have to make decisions that's best for you and your family. And those are bigger perspectives. So it's not just me, it's we, you know, and,
right.
and as a family. So, but yeah, I mean, in the first month or so, I'm like, you're looking around, you're like, this is crazy. Like, how is he playing still? And that's a fact. That's not just, it's literally because you're seeing the quality that's on the pitch, and you're like, you could walk in and start and no problem. But that's just because I hold myself at a high standard, and I'm sure Brek does as well. And, you know, we'll always have that competitive mindset and that edge essentially. But at the end of the day, look at what we've done in our career, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that whole dynamic of what to like, how to like what outlet to, because you're gonna have that competitive drive within you. I mean, that's just part of your lives for you know, however long that you've been playing the game, which is, you know, pretty much your whole lives. Have you found any other outlets to kind of let that go? Because something like the TST comes up every once in a while, but that's like, you know, sporadic.
Hell yeah, man, we'll be there every year.
Yeah.
Make sure you make that happen.
Yeah. Right. So, but how, like, in the meanwhile, because that's not happening every month as much as you'd like it to happen. Are there other things that you found to kind of channel that competitive edge that you guys have?
I mean, I play pickleball, and it kind of puts me in my place, but I don't know if you can call that a replacement, but I do enjoy playing. And then I get some 75-year-old woman who just go home and rethink my life. So.
Hey, they're crafty, man. They're crafty.
They are.
Yeah. The dinks and the spin shots, like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Brek and I went down and did doubles one day, and we're hitting balls that no one should ever get near. Like, and they're like, what you just hit, like, and then we just make this stupidest mistake of just trying to hit a killer shot when you just play a simple shot over the net, because we know we have the ability to do it, and we're like, yeah, I can do this. And then they just do a little dink, and you're like, and they just work you, man, like, because they just know, like, they just go to those little places, and they've been playing it because they're there all day. And then Brek and I show up, and we're just dripping of sweat. And we're like, next game we get kicked off, or like another one.
Cover more miles than most people because we don't know where to put the ball, but we run everything down.
Hey, you're getting your cardio in though.
Yeah, it's fun. And if we're not doing that, we're working on our business where we train, we run in the morning, we train kids in the morning, or we train, and then a group of kids just show up, and we'll put on a session. And so like, that's kind of what our daily our weekly lives are, is just waking up in the morning and just trying to get that like release in the morning that we've always done for the last 20 years or so.
Let's get to the business part, because I know the TST, they said you guys got into business together. Can we talk about what that business is?
Yeah, you got to sign an NDA first. I'll give you a little bit. But no, Brek and I obviously are professional experience and traveling, being from the States and traveling abroad and kind of putting things and picking up things where we've traveled and where we've lived and what we've experienced and trying to bring that together and put this cool like project that's for me, and it's gonna be a game changer in the States. Like I don't think anybody's seen it. It hasn't, like it's not here in the States yet, and we're trying to bridge the gap between the US and in Europe and the developmental side of things and what people are getting over there at from young ages to professional to over here, and how we're missing this huge gap essentially, and we're trying to bring that, and we are bringing that here.
That's amazing. And I think that like what you both shared together, right? Not only like playing pro together, playing pro in general as individuals, and like you're still doing things with the TST. At what point in your lives did you decide like this is the time where I should start thinking about what's next for me aside from playing pro?
I mean, I'll quickly take this and then Brett can fill in, but it's kind of funny because we were kind of training in the off season with possibilities of us playing, this past year and before, we both retired or whatever, and we kind of just looked at each other and were like, are we gonna do this? And we both had the same idea. It was crazy because it was something that I wish I had as a kid growing up, and I think it would have allowed me to go even to higher levels than as high as I played, right? And I think I played at the highest level, but even better, right? And same with Brek. It's that something that we're missing here, that we experience abroad, and bringing that together. And we both kind of were like, I'm done, you're done. Are we doing this together? And we like kind of, because we talked about it on the pitch a little bit. And he's like, dude, I wrote a whole thing up. And I'm like, dude, I wrote a whole thing up. Let's put it together. We're doing this. And like, for me, it's like, it's a story, it's a journey. And we both had two different paths to get to where we were. And now we live 15 minutes away from each other. And like, for me, it's God's way of just saying, hey, you guys are meant to do this together. And it's kind of just worked out. Like we started together, we ended together, and now we're going to open a business and we're going to crush it.
That's awesome.
It's like in the future together.
That part. Mm-hmm.
So what do you guys think about this new generation of soccer players in the U.S., especially you guys, one of the first first guys to be in Europe, Brek as a wonder kid known as FC Dallas, as one of the new prospects. How do you feel about this golden generation that the U.S. is bringing?
I mean, the next generation is beyond what I was at that age. I mean, there's so many players that big clubs and play at such a high level that I'm excited for the future of soccer. And I mean, if they can find a coach, and put it together for a while, I'm really excited for the 2026 World Cup and what this team can do, and hopefully in this next tournament to perform again, and go from there.
Yeah, I think the timing of everything right now, it just seems like it's building up. Not to use a cliche, but to a crescendo to 2026, right? You got Messi coming in, joining the league, which took at least myself by surprise. The talent level is rising. You got new developmental stuff, the stuff that you guys are doing together. It all just seems like it's the right time right now for soccer in the U.S. And what is it like just being in that space, being guys who have partially paved the way for this to happen? What does it feel like? Are you guys excited? Is there like optimism in the air? How is it for you guys right now?
I mean, someone's always going to pave the way. We did what we did, and we hope the next generation is better and bigger than we are. And then i.e. for the example after that, I hope they're bigger and better. And then as the next generations keep coming, I hope U.S. soccer is a staple at the World Cup every 4 years and every other tournament. I want to be a powerhouse. I mean, that's just, we want U.S. soccer to be the best it can be. And kind of goes into what we're doing. We want to create players and start them from a young age. And we want to bridge the gap, like Geoff said, and compete at the highest level on all aspects.
And you have to think from your perspective and how the growth is happening in the States, and it's dynamite right now. It's like ready to blow, and it's going to, like, when 2026, the World Cup it's going to be 1994, but 10 times that, right? Because you have social media, you have everything's at your fingertips. So it's going to explode here. And for me, it's an opportunity to see the growth in athletes and basically harness all these players that are just being kind of falling through the cracks and give them an opportunity to get back on it and see the potential. Because I was a kid that, I had to go a different journey than Brek. Brek was at residency and national team, and he kind of was like this big name blonde hair guy, and I was this other kid that like no one heard of. I was a 42nd draft pick in my super draft, and he was like number 1 or 2. And I was like, dude, and it's crazy because we can talk about, like, in our first year, in our draft pick, like in our super draft, there was like literally 5 people that were still playing after 2 years. And that's the difference for me, is like the experience over in Europe is like, if they don't go to a Premier League team, they'll go to a championship team. If they go to a championship team, they'll go to League One, League Two, conference, whatever. They have opportunities to continue to play. What happens here in the States? You go to the MLS, you get drafted, boom. Okay, you get dropped, you get kicked out or whatever. You don't get signed. Okay, you go to a USL team. What happens after a USL team? Nothing.
Right.
There's nothing. And like there's a huge, and is it because like maybe we didn't invest enough time in the player to develop, or are you giving him everything or her everything, an opportunity? And that's where I see like such a disadvantage between here in the States and the rest of the world. And for me, that is like a huge sticking point. And I look at the game changer of like, we had a conversation in our hotel at TST, and we're like, you look back on all the coaches we had, and who was the game changer? Who was the one that challenged us the most? And who was like a forward thinker? And it was Jurgen Klinsmann. And I had like, every player has their, arguments and disagreements and whatever, but he respected you as a player if you got feisty and you batted him, like you didn't agree with his decision or whatever. And he'd take that as like, you know what? At least he cares, right? But he was, all right, nutrition-wise, standards of like high level, because when Germany won the World Cup, that's what he was at, and that's what he was doing. And that was a standard that the German national team was being held at. Why isn't the U.S. national team doing that? And that's what he brought, that professionalism and like that elite performance of taking that and bringing it to the States. And then we kind of digressed a bit after. And now it's like, okay, we have to pick up the 4 years that we just lost and try to get it back. And Greg kind of brought it back in. But for me personally, I would love to see Pep come in. He would win the World Cup. So 4 years, boom. Like, the national team should just do it, man. Like, throw everything at Pep and say, hey, just for one World Cup, come in, do whatever, win us it.
Hey, if he wins tomorrow, he's gonna have won everything at Man City. So like, what else is there to win there?
Just come on over. Come on over here.
That's it.
You got it.
No, we got to get whoever pulled Messi in to pull him in.
Yeah, exactly.
But I've been saying this for a while. Clinton was way too early for his time with the U.S. national team. But now we're hearing big names like Mourinho, Thierry Henry, other coaches with high resumes. What kind of coaches does this team need? Because I feel like our national team has outgrown our MLS coaches, if I'm saying that correctly. But what do you think? What type of coach do we need for this U.S.? Because everybody talks about, especially around LA, everybody's talking about like 2026, we could make it to the finals. So what kind of coach do we need to bring these kids to that elite level?
I mean, I don't know what style coach or a name that comes to mind, but somebody who's going to play fun, exciting football, but give them confidence, but make them fight for everything. Like you got to, I mean, that's what US's backbone has always been. We fight for everything. We never give up, and we always believe we can win any match. So anyone who's going to let them play the way they play, but give them that grit and that dirtiness to just fight for everything and want to win that bad. And you take one game at a time, anything is possible.
Yeah, I think Geoff sold me on Pep. So Pep, I know you're a soccer psycho. I know you're watching this. So you know, just make a couple calls like
you
US.
got nothing to lose, man.
Yeah,
you already won.
right.
Might as well come over. Win a World Cup.
Exactly. Listen, guys, I know y'all got plenty of stuff going on. It's late over there on the East Coast. You put the kids to sleep, so we won't keep you any longer. But Geoff Cameron, Brek Shea, thank you guys so much for joining the podcast. This has been a lot of fun. But for Julio Monterosa, Brigitte Flores, I'm Ramsey Abushala, Brek Shea, Geoff Cameron. Thank you guys so much. Keep it tapped into the Urban Pitch podcast.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Thank you so much for joining. We appreciate it.
Enjoyed it. Thank you.
Hopefully we can do a full one next time. Whenever you try to make it a little earlier for you guys.
Whenever you drop your business, you have to come and share just like
the whole
behind
thing.
the scenes
We'll
right
have
here.
to be in person, you know?
Yeah.
Every time you're in LA, you're more than welcome.
Yeah.
You guys are living right.
Yeah, this we got a comfy studio.
Usually they're not here. It's just me on this couch. But
I got kids and a dog whining in my face.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah, this couch isn't big enough for her ego, so this is uncomfortable. It's not as comfortable as it looks.
Another one.
Yeah.
that part.
There you go. Whenever you guys are in LA, though, come back and we definitely will love to have you guys.
Yeah, man. We would love to do that for sure, and you know, stay tuned in coming weeks, coming months. Things are gonna happen, and we're just doing drip feeds here and there. So just stay tuned to both of us, and yeah, it's gonna be for us. It's gonna be a game changer, man.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what that is. You sold me just that small snippet. I'm like, what is it? I need to know. Like, what's next?
Yeah.
I wanted to steal your idea, but I can now because you didn't give me say anything.
That's why he said NDA. So fax us the NDA, and then we can get into a conversation.
Talk about it.
But appreciate you guys so much. Thank you again.
Thank you for having us, guys.
Thank
you guys.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Bye.